Hey, Truflation Nation, Stefan, founder, CEO of Truflation or True Labs again. Back again, still in Singapore. Man, it's 50 basis points. Who thought that? Amazing event, lots of really good meetings. Yesterday was the first day of the Token 2049 kickoff. I spoke on two panels on RWA and indexes, right? So the first panel was really more around oracles and around data sets as more and more. And I was sitting next to somebody from Moosh Network, and he was saying that there's like $450 trillion worth of financial services ready to come on chain. How realistic is that? What's the timing associated with that? Those are all things that we still need to figure out. But in essence, it's going to happen, right? It's just a matter of time. All these rails, these modern new rails that's making accessible to 1.7 billion people that don't have access to financial services today are going to come online and going to be accessing these financial services through with the blockchain, these new modern rails. Anyway, that was really interesting. It was a hell of a day yesterday. I spent more than 15 hours on my feet. That was after my gym workout in the morning. Walking, I think I did some 30,000 steps in the heat of Singapore, across the conference halls, into different venues, into developer rooms. We had a really good developer update as well around TSN, some of the strategies and some of the core focuses. Going into the RWA sector with some key customers, we identified 3 specific chains we want to build out in the next rollout, and we want to connect to 3 perp dexes for our indexes to be able to trade. We'll talk about more of those in the future as we actually execute on them and deliver on that promise. You know, it was really good to see. We saw a lot of our investors, Fundamental Labs, really big supporters, really trying to push us into the indexing space, into China, opening up doors into Wind, which is the Bloomberg equivalent in China. So Bloomberg is dragging their feet and taking too long to connect us. We'll go into China and connect with Wind. Wind is apparently the Bloomberg in China equivalent. And if you don't have it, it doesn't work. You can't trade really. And so that's that important tool. So we're excited to be having had that door opened for us, along with a couple of other things. So introduced us to some other benchmarking capabilities. But one of the things that really stood out is the indexing capability, right? So as you know, the TSN is the core platform for index.fun. Index.fun, go check it out, index.fun fun. It's still prototype, but that's going to be a whole marketplace where you can create indexes and we can predict which indexes and the outcome of those indexes on a day-by-day basis. Number 1, number 2. And then number 3 is the ones that filter up to the top and percolate to the top. They will be the ones that then get listed on like a Synthetics, on Truflation.com and other sites. Overlay and others to come soon, and announcements shortly. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, it was really interesting on the second panel, hosted by Michael Casey, who's from CoinDesk, formerly CoinDesk. Now he runs this project called DICE, which is the Decentralized AI Society, right? So interesting. But one of the things that they're really looking at is indexing, right? So how can they benchmark decentralized compute performance? And how can we create an index that enables these decentralized compute providers to give them a benchmark in terms of what the performance metric needs to be? Very similar to the Caesar index. So I don't know if you've heard of Caesar. It's basically the inflation staking index. What does that look like? How does that benchmark itself? And how do node operators for this Ethereum ecosystem, how do they need to see performance in terms of staking yield that they need to offer their delegated tokens providers? And so ultimately, all of these indexes act again as benchmarks, and they're proving out there. And that's why we really think that index.fun, tying to real world capabilities, right? That all of a sudden I can take real world pricing, real world data sets, and I can build an index around that, right? And we've seen that with movement and momentum around the BJJ index, the deadlift index by Peter Levels. And so all of that stuff is really coming together now and finally percolating to the top, and people are beginning to see the emergence of index coins. and what they mean, and how index act as a benchmark towards underlying. So in the case of Caesar, or in the case of decentralized compute, we talked about the indexes there. And there's some really interesting ideas that we've been approached by and that we're building out on top. We've also got index developers that are actually building indexes using blockchain data associated with that. So we'll see some interesting stuff there. Stay tuned. Watch how they emerge. You all know about the hedge index, but that was another exciting thing that really came away from this. I think the other thing that we tend to forget is, why did we set up Bitcoin in the first place? Why did we set up Ethereum, smart contracts? Why did we build tokenization of assets? A large portion of that is because we wanted to make it accessible to everybody, right? So not limited to the 15 SIB banks, not limited to the Western world that has access to these financial instruments, but enabling and opening up the innovation markets and technology and all the capabilities and the innovators and entrepreneurs to a market that is untapped at the moment, if you think about it, and giving that market opportunity to participate in some of the innovation that's taking place by entrepreneurs, right? As entrepreneurs, you just want to build, and you want to build success, and you want to create a success. And I need the best environment to do so, the best talent to help me get there, because it is hard. That's one thing that comes across all the time. Entrepreneurship is hard. No matter what you think, life is tough. And we have to do hard things. Why? It pushes us mentally, it pushes our stamina, and we need to consistently, as Nayib Bukele said so, it's all about the little things that you are working on consistently. That's what we need to do. And it's very similar, like to going to the gym, going to your workout, practicing your piano, whatever you're doing. It's a constant and consistent practice that you need to put in, and you need to do the same in entrepreneurship. And if we can open up the market for other people to participate in those hard things, they can benefit and learn about it as well. I think the best way to learn is participation and engagement. And so how can we foster and enable learnings associated with that? That was really a lot about yesterday, Token 2049, 2 panels that were on there. And yeah, it was really exciting. I think those were the big. There was also Redbeard Ventures. They hosted an event, another investor, Drew, the founder there, and Raymond at Fundamental Labs was really supportive. Also gave us opportunity to meet with some of their other portfolio companies. And the same with Redbeard Ventures after that. So it was a really amazing day, and some really interesting partnerships coming up. We're looking at an inflation protected bond on chain, decentralized, accessible to anybody. What's that look like? How do we build that out, and how do we develop that? So that was a really fun conversation. A lot of things coming from an engineering, developing the TSN and really building that out as a protocol. Index.fun, a lot of indexes that really is getting a lot of attention, a lot of people interested in that. So have a look at indexes and index.fun. And then lastly, just in general, sort of 50 basis points. Nobody thought that. I didn't think that. I don't know. Something's going on. I think it's trying to pump the election, get people thinking, oh, the economy is going to be good just in advance of the election. So, oh, they actually did a good job. Or I don't know what it is, but that was sort of what I said. If you go back 6 months or 3 months ago, where just around the summertime, that no rates until a 50 basis point cut in October. So we predicted it. I didn't think it were really going to happen, but actually it did happen. So very surprised though how the change, the 180-degree flip, right? And I guess it's employment. We need to bolster employment, especially around election time. And we all know we spend a lot during election time. So, and the spending is going to continue after the election time. And that's why crypto assets, no matter what assets, do your research, find the right coins, invest in those, and hodl. This is going to be the new rails where these $450 trillion, I mean, I can't even fathom that amount, is going to move onto chain. But I just wanted to give you a quick update. I've got a race. We've got a quick partner meeting this morning with some of